My 600 LB Life Recap, David Nelson's tragic backstory and triumphant comeback. My 600 LB Life Recap tonight focuses on David Nelson. He's 30 as we begin in Idaho Falls, ID. David's not sure how much he weighs, but knows it's a lot. He's got a tragic backstory, but one supportive person in his life. Can he meet the goals to get surgery from Dr. Nazarudin? This is Season 10, Episode 15, David's Journey on TLC. Meet David Nelson and his foster mom, Robin. David has a bunch of meds at his bedside and sleeps in a CPAP. He says it's hard to get up in the morning because his back is in constant pain. He takes muscle relaxers and Rex pain pills. Getting into the shower is tough. He can't stand for more than 2 minutes or he will fall. Taking a shower scares him too. He knows if he falls, he'll break something. He's fallen before and couldn't get back up. He says cleaning his body is hard, but he struggles with pain. He gasps for air, struggling into clothes. He says that's the hardest thing he does all day. His foster mom, Robin, helps him. She comes in to put his socks on. She claims him as her son. He lives in her house because he had no place to go on My 600 LB Life. She says helping a child get healthy is love. And she says he got heavy because no one in his life helped him consistently. So she hopes he finds love from others and for himself. David says his best distraction is eating. He tells Robin he'll eat at the couch. He says nothing feels better than food. It's a sad start to his journey. A truly terrible childhood on My 600 LB Life. His birth mom was a 13-year-old druggie when she had him, and his dad was never around. So, he went straight into foster care from birth. He says he was sometimes in houses where foster parents do it for money and don't care. And David says they always ate poorly. He learned to eat as much as he could at each meal because you didn't know if you'd be fed again for days. At age 3, he came to the Nelsons who adopted him at 6. He says his adoptive father would strap him with a belt. And he says his adoptive mother slapped his face so hard she broke his nose. So, he turned to food for comfort before My 600 LB Life. He was 250 by middle school, but was athletic wrestling and football. Then, in 10th grade, his adoptive grandmother died, and the parents went to bury her. The 3 teens left alone partied. But the parents came back and threw them out. The people who raised him for 10 years rejected him. So, he was sent back to foster care and gained 100 pounds in a year. David says his grades fell at school. He almost dropped out, but then met Robin. David meets Robin, everything changes. She says he was 17 when they met. Robin says he was personable and a good person. She says people let him down and the world was unkind. They met at a Foster Youth of Idaho picnic. Then she called the foster system to ask for David to be placed in her care. She says they tried to warn her off him since he'd been rejected by other families. Then she says she talked them into it. Now she considers him a son. He dropped from 350 to 280 under her positive influence. She also got him into college. He went to the University of Idaho. Instead of studying, he partied, though. He says he had a 0.0 GPA and drank and smoked weed instead. David says he let himself down and had to leave college. He moved back to Idaho Falls and got a job, working with special needs kids. David used his paychecks to gorge on horrible foods. That's what put him on the path that led to My 600 LB Life. He works just to eat on My 600 LB Life. Next, he says he had to quit that job to get a better paying job to afford more food. So, David went to work at Walmart. He was 400 pounds by then. He dated a string of women, but food was the only consistent thing in his life. From 23-25, he gained another 100 pounds. He said Walmart fired him for not being a good employee. Then he started driving forklifts and then became a trucker. He enjoyed that and stayed on the road for a year and liked seeing the country. But he got depressed and ate a ton of fast food. He went up to 800 pounds. Then David thought about killing himself. He considered driving his semi off a bridge to die, but eating distracted him from the dark thoughts. Then he struggled to get into the truck. David gets a bad infection that almost kills him. On My 600 LB Life, we see he noticed a red patch on his stomach and then got weaker. By the time he saw a doctor, he could barely walk. He was sent to the ER with a severe cellulitis infection. That's a bacterial infection of the skin that can be serious, according to the Mayo Clinic. It can spread to your lymph nodes and bloodstream and kill you. The hospital got rid of the infection. But he was a mess and wanted help. So, he contacted Robin for assistance. He came home from the hospital to her home. The hospital couldn't find a physical therapy unit that could take someone his size, but his mom agreed to help.